Well, I think we all have noticed that it is incredibly hot outside, and many people turn to their barbecue grills as a way to cook without heating up that kitchen. But grilling can come with dangers due to the dry conditions and use of an open flame.
Captain Barrett Baker from the Tucson Fire Department is here with some important safety tips to make sure the only thing you burn is your hot dog. Welcome.
Thanks for having me as always fun.
Don't burn the hot dog.
Don't burn the hot dogs either, though.
Steak, hot dogs, chicken, so many things to burn, but yeah, I would definitely burn those rather than the house.
I'm so excited to start grilling. Now, what are some of the safety tips you have for us today?
Well, invariably we will see some fires involved with grilling, and that's obviously the #1 thing that we don't want to see. So spacing is a very big thing for us, and especially if you live in an apartment complex. So it's not a great idea to have a grill on your apartment patio. Move it out, give yourself a little spacing. On those windy days, again, keep in mind that the wind is going to perhaps push that flame. So again, spacing is very, very important. But this is obviously one of the things that we would always talk about, is being familiar with the grill that you're using. And everything that you are going to come across in the way of a negative is addressed in here. I mean, it's the owner's manual. It's not fun to read, but if you open up the first page, there's about 1,000 warning signs of all the things that can go wrong, and they're there for a reason. Bad things have happened to people before, and they're trying to prevent that from happening to you. So take that important first step and make sure that you are familiar with how you're grilling, and that's a good thing to start off with.
Because I'm sure that, you know, depending upon the grill that you have, a charcoal grill is going to be different than a gas grill.
Natural gas, propane, we've all seen and witnessed the propane when it sinks into the bottom of the basin. Your electronic igniter is not working. You keep pushing it.
Yes.
It's like a video game and you're hitting that thing 30 times. Well, all of that propane is settled in the bottom of that grill, and when it finally does ignite, that's when you get that huge blowout and you burn your eyebrows off. So knowing that if it doesn't ignite immediately, to turn the gas off, to air it out, wait a few minutes, and then try it again. And they will have, obviously, the igniting procedures to keep you safe. So yeah, we've all seen that. It's terrible, it's scary, but if you can go back to the basics, then hopefully we can avoid those types of situations.
I've also heard it's bad to have like open flame things near it, like tiki torches and citronella candles, things like that.
And we're dealing with high temperatures, and so anything that is combustible can technically burn. So we have to keep that in mind, that if you're dealing with an open flame and something is next to it, and that's why we get back to that spacing. You know, if you have foliage or anything else that can catch fire, and depending on what you're cooking, obviously you get the grease flare-ups as well. So clean your grill periodically. When you get that grease flare up, not only can it burn something else if the flame gets a little bit out of hand, but you can burn yourself too, which would lead me to this.
Ooh.
Long handles, okay?
Oh, right.
Because obviously these are important for us, and we don't want to get burned. So if you go with long-handled types of utensils, then that is going to avoid you by getting burned. And then again, I wouldn't want to have long sleeves that are very loose. If I get the flare up and I have a long sleeve on, what do you know, all of a sudden I might be having to do the stop, drop, and roll, which never really a good time to do that. So, I mean, it's funny because grilling is popular in the summer. It's 105 degrees outside. I'm not sure why it's not more popular in the fall, but we really will see an increase in those types of accidents, and it's important that if you take a few minutes and put forth those safety tips, that we should avoid that.
And what is the proper way to get rid of hot coals?
Make sure that you douse them heavily with water first.
Okay.
I mean, and that is something that we see. Those hot coals get put into a plastic garbage can, which is right next to the house, A to B to C, and obviously that's the worst case scenario. So time, and I mean, let them cool down appropriately, and then put them in a metal container rather than a plastic container. And again, if you can take the hose out and saturate that and submerge them completely, that's going to be the best case for us.
Now, we've all seen the people who slap on the burgers and then go back inside, maybe watch some basketball or whatever. Now, would you say it's probably not a good idea to keep the thing unattended like that?
I couldn't have said it any better, actually.
The thing?
Yeah, well, no, it is so true
that
regardless of whether it's in the kitchen or outside, when you're cooking, we can't leave things unattended, because something that is very small can turn very big very quickly if you're not there to see it. So that would lead me to that next point. It's good to have a hose or a fire extinguisher nearby, because again, bad things happen, but you never know when they're going to happen. So you almost have to plan as if something is going to happen, and that way you're ready for it. So never leave your grill unattended, because again, that burned piece of chicken could be bad, but
Not having a house
if it spreads,
is worse.
exactly, we put that in the worst category for sure.
Captain Barrett Baker, thank you
Thanks.
so much for keeping us safe this grilling season.
Grill safely and stay cool.
Yes,
Thank
the
you.
very same
Thanks.
to you.
Thank you.
And you can get more seasonal fire tips by going online to fire.tucsonaz.gov. Again, that's fire.tucsonaz.gov.
Stick around. The Morning Blend will be right back with what's happening on tomorrow's show.